The winner of this year's CPAC straw poll is now. Okay. Well, the winner of this year's CPAC straw poll is Texas Congressman Paul.
In the end, he was the winner. Probably not the reaction he was hoping for when you name a favorite to run for the White House. Mixed applause and boos as Ron Paul was announced over the weekend. The fiery Texas Republican, no doubt unfazed by the reaction. He's live with me now from Capitol Hill, winner of that straw poll for the second year in a row. How you doing, sir? Congressman
I'm
Ron
doing fine.
Paul. Welcome back
I'm doing fine, thank you.
So who was in the audience booing you? Did you get a name on the? Did you get an ID on those people?
No, I wasn't there, so I didn't watch that little ceremony at the end. But it tells you that people aren't unanimous on this cause of liberty. You know, I am very determined that liberty is the issue, and some people like to be taken care of more so than demanding their freedoms.
Maybe it was the Donald out there. Listen, you've won 2 years in a row now. Why are you so popular there?
Well, I hope it's because the message is popular and that people like it, but it is definitely a younger crowd there, and I think young people realize the bad rap they're getting, what they're inheriting, and I think they see in the message of liberty that maybe they'd have a better life if they had a freer country and less taxes, like no income tax, get the government out of their personal lives, and they are very attracted to the foreign policy of less intervention overseas.
Well, we're seeing some numbers from the Wall Street Journal that'll make your head spin. It'll make everybody spin. From 2008, we were spending $434 billion a year in non-discretionary, non-defense discretionary spending, I should say. That went to $537 billion in 20. That's a 24% increase between 2008 and 2010. Department of Transportation, that shot up a whopping 548%. Commerce Department shot up 219%. Department of Education, 181%. Now, there's ongoing budget battles between the House, the Senate, and White House. Who gets it down there that America's broke?
Well, the people are starting to get it outside of Washington, but I would say on both sides of the aisle they like to spend money, but for different reasons. And they have been bipartisan too often. They get together and spend all this. They should be bipartisan and cut each of their own little programs that they like. But there's an addiction here. I don't think anything's going to happen until a lot of these people down here are willing to go into rehab, because but there is a momentum of a system that depends on deficit financing and an inflated currency, and to turn it off is very, very difficult.
Well, how do you break that? Do you think members of Congress, your colleagues, are they serious today about breaking the addiction that you described?
No, I don't think so. They're serious about portraying themselves to the grassroots to satisfy that 20 or 30% who are very angry with Washington. They know that's not the majority of people. When it boils down to it, the majority of the people still want to make sure that they're getting their programs financed. So even those people who hate Obamacare, boy, when they talk about Bush's prescription drug programs and regular Medicare and Medicaid, I mean, they're not talking about that, and yet philosophically and morally and constitutionally, that's all the same.
So what you're painting with both sides of the brush. I appreciate that. However, you support earmarks. You defend earmarks on your website. Isn't that a contradiction on behalf of you?
I don't see it as a contradiction. Nobody's really accused me of that. They'd like to, but no, I see the earmark as a constitutional responsibility of Congress. I want us to earmark everything, and the definition of earmark is very vague. If you earmark $1 billion to build an embassy in Baghdad, that's not considered an earmark. But if there's an earmark for somebody to get some of their money back that we've paid into for our highway system, and say that, you know, they took our money, the highway should be built, and say, oh, I don't want any highways in Texas or Arizona or wherever, that doesn't make any sense to me.
But many would argue
that
it's a symbol, or maybe it's a symptom of the problem. And you could set a firm example by getting rid of earmarks and telling the American people we are serious, which would send a strong signal to businesses that the road ahead is better and you can start providing jobs.
See, I think it's the wrong thing to do because the money won't be cut. You don't cut anything. You just give it to the executive branch and they pass it out for political reasons. I set the example by never voting for any of the appropriations and any of the taxes and get the government out of the business of this, of distributing these funds. So it is a constitutional issue for me who spends the money. It's very, very clear in the Constitution. The Congress has the responsibility. Why should we collect the money, vote to give it to the executive branch, and not cut one penny? Yeah. That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
We're going to continue this debate, and I really welcome you to come back here because this is important stuff. I know you've been at the leading edge of it, and your opinion accounts for a lot for how we go forward. What do you think of Donald Trump? He says you can't win.
Oh, he did say something like that, didn't he? Yeah. Well, I guess everybody has the right to their own opinion.
Indeed, they do.
But like I mentioned before, when I've been asked that's what they said to me when I ran for Congress, and I ran and won 11 times because they said my message was too strict, too much of a strict interpretation of the Constitution, too much of an obsession with individual liberty. Nobody would vote for anybody like you, and yet, I was able to do that. So I don't think it's quite fair.
22 years later, Ron Paul, thank you for your time. We'll talk again.
Thanks a lot.
Right? Appreciate it.
All right.
Some of those ideas have been catching on lately too, right? All the Tea Party attention that we have seen.